put that behind us. But in my view, it's just as bad to be part of the process of making excuses why we have to stay there. Not just Republicans, but Democrats as well. Now, I was the first member of the Senate to say in August of 2005, we ought to have a timetable to get our troops out by the end of 2006. And for well over a year, I had to have my Democratic colleagues in the Senate say, well, you can't have a deadline. You can't have a timetable. You'll tell the insurgents when we're going to leave. Well, finally, we stood up. And we passed a binding deadline to begin taking the troops out and a goal of removing the troops by the end of March of 2008. That was a victory. It was a first step. We were ratcheting up the pressure. When push came to shove, when it was time to send that provision back to the president and tell him no supplemental bill if you don't do it, unfortunately, too many Democrats paid. And the president won that round. Now that was a retreat. That was a mistake. In the middle of all this, I have proposed not only a binding deadline that the troops be brought home by the end of March of 2008, but that it be enforced by our constitutional power, our appropriate use of the power of the purse to cut off the funding after the troops are safely redeployed. That is the strongest provision. That is what I hope you will help me pass. And on that point, I need your help on this more than anything else. Why would Democrat senators be mouthing the arguments of Dick Cheney? Dick Cheney has, of course, and George Bush said that the weapons of mass destruction, that the insurgency was in its last throes, that there was no civil war, false argument after false argument. Well, the latest one is the idea that somehow those of us who want to end the war want to take the funding away from the troops. We even have presidential candidates talking about troops not having night vision goggles under our proposal. That is nonsense. Not a single thing will be taken away from the troops until they have been safely redeployed from Iraq. Help us cut through this nonsense. Help us cut through this argument that is extending the war and causing American troops to die unnecessarily. This is an outrage.